Hey everybody, Rory McDonald from MacDonald and Associates coming to you with the next episode of Tuesdays with Rory. Super pumped for you guys to be tuning in today. I have a special guest in the studio from the Port Huron area. This is Mr. Ryan Bostwick, not Bostic, Ryan Bostwick. Super pumped to have you here, man. Just kind of talking real estate and going over what's happening in the industry, what you're doing in the industry, and honestly, what God's doing in our businesses too. That's an important thing. That's deep in both of our hearts, and I think it's good for us to touch on that. So before we jump in, dude, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're all about, and just kind of share a little bit of that.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Beautiful day out today. I don't know when this is going to air, but I always try to take advantage of those days in Michigan.
You have to. Yeah.
So thanks for having me on. But to answer your question, which was like a little bit about myself, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Got into real estate in 2018. It was not the easiest start. I'm sure a lot of people can relate with that. My buddy told me at the time, the only really guy I knew in real estate was my buddy Justin, and he was a broker. And he said, made it sound so easy, sugarcoated it. He took me to an open house and said, you can make 6 figures doing this. One person showed up. He put one sign in the yard, bought it from like Home Depot or something. I was like, man, I can get into this. I'm good with people. So I took started the course online. He said you could do it in couple of days. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it. 5 months later, I was still taking the same course online. In between that time, I went on a couple week vacation, forgot everything, struggling. I was working 2 jobs and trying to hide that I was taking the course because my boss, if it didn't work out, I didn't want my boss to either not give me a raise or fire me.
Sure.
So I was taking it low key, didn't know anything about it. Only thing I knew was HGTV.
Of course, that's everybody's view of real estate is $1 million listing.
Yeah, for sure. And then, started that. It was a rough start. Then once I got my license, ready to take on the world. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that too. And then the first year, maybe not so much. I learned a lot. I thought social media was going to be my avenue, which looking back, it wasn't the worst decision because I built a brand that I fall back on now too as well. But I didn't do as many phone calls and face-to-faces that I should have when I started out. And so I had to learn those skills later on. And I'm still learning every day, by the way, about how to do that and to keep in touch with everybody. But I'm a man of God. I do my best to stay in touch with the Lord and try to incorporate that in my business and try to treat people the right way. And definitely faded at times, which I'm sure everybody can relate with that. And then also with my business has also gone up and down. And maybe if I look back and line those 2 things up, it might be a crazy concept there that both go well when you're closer to God, probably.
Sure.
One of my mentors, Justin, always says, he's like, get close with God because he's the ultimate referral source. He knows everybody.
That's good, man.
Yeah. I was like,
that's really good.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's this concept too, like, obviously, like there's this thing within churches of like the prosperity gospel. Like if you follow God and you give to the church more, God will bless you with millions of. No, that's not what we're saying, everybody.
Amen.
That's not, nice. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is and I truly believe this too. And I'm sure you and Justin would probably say the exact same thing. God actually cares about you and the things that you care about too. And you have a business and he cares about your business. He cares about your clients. He cares about your next listing. He cares about the next family that you have the opportunity to sit down and have a listing appointment, because this is more than just selling a house. This is, like when you're moving a family into a new place, it's not just, hey, I sold your house. You've got this money. Now you can go buy property or whatever it is. No, you guys are changing the trajectory of what it is that's happening in your life potentially. And God has a say in that. He has a role in that. And if I get the opportunity to play even just a small piece in that, I want to bring you back to what you feel like God told you. Like it's, I want to say matchmaker, but that's not even the right word. Like, hey, no, let me remind you, this is what you said. This is what you feel like God was trying to say to you. This is what you feel like your family is, the next journey, the next step for your family. Let me remind you of what it is that looks like. So dude, 100%, man, 100% I would agree with that completely. Ryan is from the Port Huron area. You're originally from, you went to Northern. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out Northern Huskies. How about your boy?
There you go. And you guys, what's the Big Reds? It's the other Big Reds up there, right?
Oh yeah. Crosstown rivals. Yeah. No, I'm cool with it now. It's kind of funny, but I definitely through football and sports, you create that healthy rivalry.
Yeah.
But now I don't care as much.
Yeah.
But I do go to the game once a year.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
And
Memorial Stadium gets pretty lit.
Yeah.
We actually had a Darius Slay when he was with the Lions come to the game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy actually.
That is cool. I remember growing up, that was my favorite stadium to play in because there was no track. There's no track. For those of you who don't know, was Memorial Stadium. Memorial Stadium. It's literally cement bleachers. It's not metal. It's cement, which keeps the sound in the stadium. It's super loud. We had a playoff game there, and it's dangerous going out of bounds.
Yeah,
because the cement wall is flipping right there. I didn't know this. This was back when I was in high school too. A couple years. So I went to Chippewa Valley. Yep. Also the Big Reds. Port Huron were also the Big Reds. They had a trophy that they played for every single year. Back in 2008, that trophy disappeared and it was stolen by somebody who I played with.
Okay.
And it is sitting in his garage. So he stole the Big Red trophy, I guess, whatever. But it's wild. Hopefully this doesn't get into the hands of somebody who can go find us.
Okay,
I won't mention any names, but you know who you are. But
love it.
So you were talking a little bit about the rivalry side of things, and that is something that is real within our business, right? Like you see it,
got that right.
Between different companies, different agencies, different individual agents saying like, no, you shouldn't go with them, you should go with me. Like rivalry is a real thing. It does happen, and part of that is like we're in business and we're competitive guys, and people who are in real estate, we're competitive. We've got a sports background, a lot of us, and you walk into a lot of these offices and it's a rah-rah locker room kind of feel of like, hey, let's go get it. Let's go make it happen. And there's people are excited when things are happening. One of the massive things that are happening right now in real estate that kind of has a little bit to do with this and is definitely going to change the industry is this whole NAR settlement. For those of you who don't know, the way that real estate has operated over the course of the last, forever here in the United States, at least. And it's not this way in other countries like New Zealand, England, France, South America, all those different places, is when you hire a real estate agent and you are selling a home, you are offering your commission that is negotiated on behalf of the person who is representing you, not just as the commission of that selling agent. It is also the commission that you are going to be offering, or they are going to be offering to co-op to a buyer's agent to say, hey, bring us your clients, bring us your buyers, come buy this house and we will pay you this much. And that's advertised. The average for the state of Michigan is right around 6%. That gets split in half to a buyer's agent, half to a listing agent. It has been kind of not unheard of, but it does happen time to time where a buyer will actually pay their agent, but it's so rare right now. That's one of the things that has the potential to change, because we as agents, I think it's come July or August, maybe,
if it even passes.
Well, it's passed.
Oh,
it's passed.
It's just passed?
It's passed. It's just a matter of when they're going to start implementing a lot of this stuff. But the advertisement of us putting out, hey, how much are you advertising to a buyer's agent? That's what's going away, which really has the ability to change a lot of things. I kind of wanted to get your feel on this too. Like, because business wise, like I know when I first got in, and I'm sure you feel the same way, like most of the people that I worked with were purchasers.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I got a listing. Like,
exactly. Okay. And one of the things that we would often say is like, no, you don't have to pay me. Right. I'm going to be paid by the listing agent. I'm co-oping. The seller's actually paying me to bring you as the buyer. And with that now having the ability to change a little bit, who knows what this is going to look like, right? How are things changing potentially within your business to kind of compensate and prepare for that?
Yeah. Well, first off, I still do mainly work with buyers.
Okay.
So it is, and then those buyers turn to sellers, obviously. But yeah, to answer your question, I still mainly work with buyers. So it does change. It depends how you look at it. Just like anything, I think it's going to bring more respect back in our business.
Sure.
It's like, hey, we're not working for free, and we do have respect. You go to attorney, you don't think you're gonna have to pay for that, and we represent a lot of legal matters,
Sure.
So I think it's going to bring some respect, but also it comes back down to the basics, double down, treat them right, be upfront about it, and show your value, why you should be represented on the buy side instead of just working with the seller's agent. And then there's going to be a lot of agents leaving the business because of it, which opens up more opportunities for us who stay in. But yeah, it's just, I try to look at everything positive.
Yeah.
And just look at it as an opportunity. That's what I try to do. And there'll be some opportunities for us to sharpen our swords, I should say, and get to roll our sleeves up a little bit and get back into it. But I don't think it's going to change as much. It's annoying as far as like not being advertised on MLS. Got to make phone calls now and got to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I was one of those people who was notorious for saying, hey, you don't have to pay me. And it was just it was so convenient. But I don't know, like transaction fees, we won't get into numbers with that, but
sure.
When that came to my attention, when I went to my second brokerage, that you can charge more.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do it. And then I decided like, that's the industry standard. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start charging. And I was nervous about it. And then people they just do it. Yeah. Like, it's just how you present it. And it's not like it's what your fee is and you're worth it, but you got to make sure you're a professional and you really are. You're treating people the right way.
Sure. No, I would agree with that for sure. I'd say probably about maybe 40, 50. I'll call 50%. 50% of my business right now is the purchasing side too, which again is like, I'm thinking about like me when I first bought a house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God forbid the potential of like, it's this weird line that you tote with this thing, because as a buyer, you don't want to be taken advantage of. And your agent who's representing you, whether you're paying them or not, they have this heart, and at least us sitting at this table,
right,
that we don't want anybody, our client or not, to be taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. We don't want that to happen. And the thing that I'm afraid of with this settlement is truthfully the lack of knowledge on the consumer who is a first-time home buyer, for example, who goes, dude, I just got pre-approved. I'm approved for $200,000. It's a pretty, Clinton Township, for example, it's a pretty minimal house right now.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I think I need concessions, which you did a podcast the other day and you talked about that.
Yep.
I need concessions, in which case the seller pays a little bit of my down payment. Or my closing costs. Mm-hmm. However, like, I don't know that I have the money to actually pay for you. So I don't know that I can use you to where I go, time out, still call me. Right. Like, still ask questions, because what ends up happening is if you go directly to a seller, I'll let you pick up on this.
Yeah.
If I'm a buyer and I'm going directly to a seller, what are some of the risks that I might run into not being represented?
Well, first off, just in general, their job is to represent their client, which is the seller.
Right.
So they wouldn't, just their job role, they wouldn't be doing their job if they weren't trying to get the most money for the seller. So like, let's just start with that. But they could be trying to gain respect in our industry. So I don't want to really, they could be misleading.
Sure. You can be respectful. And I think that you're doing a good job of this. I respect our industry and I respect all the real estate agents out there. Anybody who's listening to this and anybody who's potentially even hearing this later on down the road can confidently say, I've had really good interactions with real estate agents. And I've had terrible interactions with real estate agents.
Yeah.
And the ones who I've had terrible interactions with, it seems like I don't have interactions with them on a regular basis, because if I'm having terrible interactions with them, their clients probably are too. So these are the people who are going to end up getting out of the industry, I think.
Right.
Like if you're having bad interactions with the agents. So all that being said, both of us have our ADD acting up right now. We were pounding before we jumped on the podcast. We both had a espresso and it's kicking in.
Yes.
But no, I would agree with you. But like, just to kind of sum up what it is that you're saying, there are bad agents out there who have no intention of making sure that things are fair, good, legal.
Right.
There's no other way for it. Like,
yeah.
And
you have to say it.
Yeah. Not mentioning any names, but it's the same thing if you go to an attorney or a police officer or a teacher, or, name a profession, a nurse. There's really great nurses and there's terrible nurses. Some of them work in the same place and they go, yeah, she's awful. He's awful. I can't stand working with this. It's a real thing. It's the same thing in our industry. It's no different.
Facts.
So going along with that now, like coming back to it, okay, I'm a consumer and I'm in the industry, or I'm a consumer. I'm looking to purchase my first home. I don't know that I can afford potentially to hire myself a buyer's agent. I'm just going to go directly to the listing agent. What do I do? What's something that you would say to somebody that's in a position like that?
I would say kind of like what I already said, as far as like, you know, you want to be represented on your end, even if you can't afford it, you don't need to pay me. You can do the right thing on our end too, get that referral.
Yeah.
But again, just, you want to make sure you're represented on both sides. There's a reason why we've done it this way for so long. It's not by coincidence or like people are trying to make things up for, you know, these fees and stuff like that. It's it's very important. If you go to I like to translate it for either doctor or lawyer. It's just like such an easy transition.
Yeah.
If you're getting sued by somebody or you're being convicted of a crime, you don't want to be working with the other guy's lawyer. You know what I'm saying? You want to have your own representation to represent you, who has your best interest in mind. And just by default, it's not even anything against a listing agent. They have a job to do and they're getting paid for it. So if they find some middle ground, I think that's the only, because there's still good listing agents out there. They would have to find some middle ground and just be a genuine good person versus just trying to be that shark out there to get the most money for the seller. That's why I liked it the way it was, because it was that healthy balance of, I'm trying to get the most for my seller, and then the buyer's agent trying to get you the best deal. And then you found that middle ground. So it is definitely going to change moving forward, is for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The other kind of cool thing, and I heard about this recently, I need to look it up to know that this is actually accurate. So if you're watching this, make sure that
fact checker,
go look this up. Yeah. I don't have a James.
Everything I say too, also might want to double check that.
But one of the things that I heard is, so the let's say I'm a buyer, I'm going out there and I do want representation. I go, hey, Ryan, represent me. I'm going to find a house. My budget's $300,000. It's going to be our first home. We're having a baby soon. We just got married, right? Like everything, we're pumped, we're excited. What do I need to do? First of all, obviously you're going to do a buyer agency consultation, sit down and talk to them and sign a buyer agency contract in which they know, hey, this is what is expected and what you potentially would be paying me should a seller not be paying me. I want you to know up front, right? And then on top of that, one of the things, and this is the cool thing that I was going to say, I heard, and I need to confirm this, that the concessions doesn't necessarily have to apply to the commission, first and foremost.
Right.
And I've heard from a couple different lenders that you can actually take the commission and roll that into the mortgage. So if I'm buying a $300,000 house, for example, okay, well, maybe I'm buying this house now for $309 because that's 3%. And I'm rolling that into my mortgage and I'm paying my real estate agent over the course of 30 years of me owning this house, instead of me having to come up with this extra $9,000 to put down and give this agent, which I think if that ends up being the case, dude.
Yeah.
I think back to when I first bought my first house and I'm like, dude, I don't know that I could afford another $1,500.
Yeah.
Like, let alone $9,000.
Yeah.
And now to roll it into a mortgage, it's like, okay, yeah, I think I can do that.
Right.
I think I can figure that out.
I've heard both.
Oh, really?
I've heard that you could do that, and that's what they've done in the past from a really experienced lender.
Yeah.
Shout out Dave Voss, by the way, my mutual. But then I also heard more recently from another lender that you might not either. I won't mention his name, so I guess I won't put words in the mouth, but I think it was kind of saying like, you're not going to be able to do that, or you can sometimes, or something like that. Whatever it was, it gave me the feeling of like, oh, you can't do that,
Okay.
So we'll find out. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some type of thing we're going to figure out. There's too many of us, and it's too important. Forget us getting paid.
Yeah.
But like, just from the buyer standpoint, like, it's too important not to be represented. So, and if nobody's getting paid, nobody wants to work for free. That's just the reality.
Yep.
So there's got to be we got to figure something out. So I think, and then it can also change with the price too, as well. If it doesn't get rolled into the mortgage, just the seller's going to come down. We got to figure something out, or they're going to have to give out more commission, and they're going to run into that problem too in certain cases. So that's why I'm just kind of scratching my head with this whole thing. There's so many things that I'm just like, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm super biased, obviously, but
yeah,
it's frustrating, but it is what it is. You got to roll with it. And one thing I'm really good at is pivoting, in this industry. Like, you always got to be ready to go and adjust accordingly. So I'm ready for it to take it on.
Yeah. I love it, man. Talking about taking it on too, as we're wrapping this thing up. One of the things that I'm super passionate about and love talking about, we talked about before jumping on here, is goals. What is it you're trying to do? What are you going after? What do you feel like God's really put on your heart in terms of, helping X number of people this year, or X number of houses, whatever it might be. So I ask you,
what
is it that you feel like God's put on your heart this year in terms of a goal that he wants you to be going after?
Yeah, my goal at my brokerage is called Power Agent,
Mhm.
and it's 24 transactions, and that's a goal. I have a couple other agents too at our office have that. We started an accountability group, and we're trying to hold each other accountable. We meet every Monday at 8 a.m. and that's my goal this year is to help 24 families. And I really want to hit it because there's been years, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, where I haven't hit my goals.
Yeah,
and it's really frustrating. And so this year, every year, it's my year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to be going for it all at the balls to the walls, and 24 transactions is my goal. Then also I want to up my price point too as well, so that 24 makes more sense.
Yeah.
Volume wise too.
I love it.
So
I love it. That's awesome, man. I'm super pumped that you were able to make the trek. It's like 48 minutes, 50 minutes, something like that.
Weather was nice. So
yeah.
Nice
from Port Huron down here to Clinton Township. So I'll have to come up to you guys and check out the. I mean, I've been to your studio, and stuff, but jump on the podcast
once we get it set up. Yeah, Bobby Hall, come on.
Yeah, there you go. He's a good dude for sure. But no, super thankful that you made the trek down here for some coffee and the podcast.
We'll do it again sometime.
I love it. I love it. Very thankful for you guys. Thanks for checking out today's episode of Tuesdays with Rory. Very thankful for you. Stay blessed, everybody, and enjoy this.